Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be working with a session called Color Me STEAM. My name is Terry Phillips, and I'm so happy to be a part of this great summit that Carly and Adam have afforded to us. I would like to thank them so much for giving us this opportunity to share our gifts, our time, and our knowledge about STEAM, STEM, and art. Well, let's get started. We're going to share with you lessons that have worked with me throughout the years. In elementary school, as STEM teachers, have an important role to share and to deliver content that is across the curriculum. This is one of my favorite topics of discussion, which is art. And embedding art into our class curriculum is so exciting for the students, but it's exciting for me as well. This is a presentation of how the elements of art are embedded into the STEM curriculum and used for classroom management, as I said, and lessons. I have divided this presentation into three large components: lessons of color, drawing robots, and color coding. Well, what are the elements of art in STEM? For us today, we're going to share with you how we use shapes, lines, and color. The central question for this presentation is, what approach do teachers need to support a STEM curriculum? Our objective today is to explore learning and teaching strategies that promote collaboration, problem solving, creativity, and critical thinking. Our purpose? To use that knowledge to help students prepare for the challenges and opportunities of the 21st century. Let's take a look at a lesson that is used for grades K through 1. This is an introduction of Tux Paint. Tux Paint is an open source drawing software. It's an easy download for computers and mobile devices. The lesson begins like this: what tools do we need to be creative on our devices? I always have the students sit on the carpet to watch these presentations. Our objective for our littles: to learn software Tux Paint. The purpose: to introduce digital art tools using a program on a device. The devices our students will be using will be our iPad tablets. Tux Paint is a program on a computer, and I asked the students to share other programs that they have used. Text Paint allows us to make our creativity on using art, and it also has built-in magic effects. This is a short video that I made for the students. And basically, what I do with the students on this level is to share with them the different tools that we will use for projects. After I have shown them the different tools that we will use for these projects, we will give them short time to explore the different tools so that they can get practice. There are certain tools that we use with this one. We use the line tools. We use the different sizes and shapes for the line tools. We use the eraser tool. We use the different shape tools. And at the bottom, we see our color palette. Let's make a rainbow. Well, the students will be making a rainbow either if they're on the computer with their trackpads, if they're using their mobile devices such as the iPad, they will be using their fingers to create a curved line to show a rainbow. Undo is a tool to use when they make a mistake. So we practice that one a lot. The next portion that we have is called Create a Picture using a few of the following. Well, we have the sky, we have the cloud, we have grass, we have a tree, and we have the sun. The next slide, students are able to create this slide and the students will be able to take a look at others. I also asked the students to embed more characters to their scene in which they can use additional tools such as the fill bucket, the line tool, shape tool, and even the magic flower tool. The next lessons are for grades 3 through 5. And this is where the students get a chance to explore the definition of graphic arts. This is an introduction to graphic arts. However, this is also a lesson similar to the first two lessons in which students will get a chance to continue to use color, shape, and lines. The essential question that I use for to explain graphic arts is, what is graphic arts? Our goal for this lesson is to explore the skills to create art using technology. The definition of graphic arts is a visual presentation of ideas presented on a surface to evoke emotion from an audience. Students are asked this question: do you know your drawing tools? What art have you created using the computer? This generates a lot of discussion when you pose these questions to our older students. What is text? Which font looks the best and why? We talk about color, how color is used, and I'll let them discuss how they use color for their images. Let's begin learning our tools. Now here we let our students take a look at the different tools that we use. Here we're going to embed this lesson. Now this lesson is going to share with the students the different types of shapes they will be using in graphic arts. How can understanding shape help us create and respond to art? Our technology goals for this lesson is to explore digital drawing and the art tools. And we will be using several different types of web tools, drawing tools, but that are on different websites for the students to explore. Draw a picture of two shapes you see in the classroom. Write the names of the shapes next to your drawings. The students really enjoy this. The students will get a chance to learn all of the tools that we see here at the bottom. Now, this is Nearpod that I'm working with, and many of you are probably familiar with Nearpod, but if you're not familiar with Nearpod, we have several different icons here that share with you the basic drawing tools that the students will be using. We talk about the different shapes that exists. And art, shape is either two-dimensional or it's either three-dimensional. In this case, we're talking about the different shapes that we see between nature and man-made. So we're going to be talking about shapes that are geometric and organic. Once again, the students are able to practice the different types of shapes by drawing the shapes with the drawing tool. And then we're going to get a little bit deeper into the different types of shapes using the slides deck over on this side. Students can read out loud or you can read to them. Now let's practice spotting geometric and organic shapes. Circle the geometric shapes in red and the organic shapes in blue. And once again, students are able to practice using their palette and practice using the drawing toolkit that we have here in Nearpod. Here is the correct answers. Now students are able to draw on their own. So we are working on drawing, and this particular program is a neat program that students can use. Here they're going to practice copying and drawing lines using AI. Let's take a look. And then when you're all done, you go to submit. And you get the idea. Let's continue with practicing our drawing. Here is a fun activity using Google, and I think this website has existed for a while now. But if you have not seen this, you're going to go to where it says Let's Draw, and it'll ask you to draw something. Now, here's another AI. You will draw a nail, and the computer is going
I
to
see
try
pond,
to guess it.
or swimming pool, or paperclip. Oh, I know, it's nail.
And then you let the students work on that for a little bit. Here's a shape game, but I'm going to move on because you guys are going to get a copy of this presentation so you'll get a chance to see it. Here's another web tool that I think that your students will like. It's from Digi Puzzle. And in math, we talk a lot about symmetry. And that's what this one is all about. So let's take a look on how to use this tool. Here we have our drawing tool. When you select it, you can select the color. We have our fill bucket. When you select it, you have a different color. And here we have, I always tell the students, if you make a mistake, you can go here or you can go to the eraser. So let's make a few different shapes. So I'm going to select black and I'm going to use my pencil here. And I'm just going to draw some real easy little shapes. But what makes it so neat is we're talking about symmetry, it's a symmetrical. So the students love this site right here because they get a chance to really create some really fun things. So depending on what your topic of discussion is, if you want the students to make some type of animal, nocturnal animal, or some animal that has wings, or whatever it is, you can have your students do those different things. I like to for the students to take their time and just make different lines and shapes. And then we also like to practice using our fill bucket tool. Now, this is just a basic line tool, but you can really get deeper into this lesson. Depends on your level of art expertise if you want to really get into the art part. So we go to the fill bucket here, and then we can add different colors if you want. I always try to uh, remind the students that you must connect the lines together, because if you don't, the colors will go off and bleed into other colors. But that's how you use these icons here, these little tools here, to be very creative. So you guys can play around with that one. So let's move on. Now, here is a short quiz about the different types of shapes for your students. And the reason why this is so important is when it's time for you to have the students demonstrate a science concept or a technology concept in STEM, they are able to get these skills that they need. Because a lot of times, I think a lot of us assume students know how to draw using the computer. In actuality, they do not. So we're teaching them, as well as the art teacher, but we're also teaching them the importance of learning how to create lines, how to create shapes, and how all of these concepts flow together. Organic shapes and 2D and 3D, all of those elements that we use in art, we also use in the STEM classroom. So here's just a quick little quiz about what's going on with the particular lesson that we have here. Now, after you have finished this lesson, you're going to get a chance to use another tool. This tool we use using the celebration of Dot Day. I use this a lot with the students. Very easy and simple, comes to us from Toy Theater. This icon, as you can see, makes your lines thicker, thin, and we're going to use a large one because today is this is how we celebrate Dot Day. We select from our art palette and we just make small little dots, but you also can add lines if you wish for your students. Now, doing this, you can have the students do maybe one or two. And for me, this gives the students another opportunity to practice their mouse skills as well as their drawing skills. I always share with the students to make maybe 2 or 3, well, no more than 4 different types of patterns. And then once they have finished, then we're gonna go to the icon here, and we call this the spin icon. And as you can see, it automatically generates a beautiful art design. Here is another one called Kaleidoscope Painter, where you're going to select one of the templates that you see here, and the students will take their mouse and gradually move. Now, you don't have to do a lot with this one. Here, once again, we have our sizes of our brush. This is the thinner, this one is thick. If they want to change the background, they can select this to change the background. If they want to create another template, they can go ahead and do that. And then it's just with the stroke of the mouse, they can create anything that they want. And the students absolutely love this website. Now, here is where I let my older students on their computers, on their Chromebooks, they can save the images. And when you save this image, the students are able to use this as a background for their work. Or also, the students can use this to put in, we use Scratch at our school. So when we're working on a Vortex assignment, I let the students create their backgrounds for their Vortex assignments, or any other assignment that they have. You also can use this as a screensaver if it's okay with your district, but that's up to you. But this is a neat program called Kaleidoscope Painter. We reflect on, there's a questions for reflections, and then that ends. So this is a great lesson to introduce students to art, but also in our case into graphic arts to take the students to the next level. Next, we have digital drawings for grades K through 2, and it's from the website DigiPuzzle. And I think I mentioned that one before. This one we use either a tablet or our Chromebooks for this particular lesson. Our students at our school use Android, Apple, and Chromebooks. What tools can I use to show what I have learned is our essential question. And our goal is to design digital insects on a landscape. So the students have already had previous lessons about how to use art using our devices. And our purpose is to create original works or responsibly repurpose and remix digital resources into new creations. And this is a fun science unit. After the students have learned a lot about the different types of animals, this is where the students can actually put their knowledge onto the screen. Our materials for this lesson is a design worksheet, the DigiPuzzle drawing app, and a device. The design worksheet is following the engineering design process where students have to create on paper outside of the screen what their animal will look like, what colors they would like to use, and the basic backgrounds and foregrounds that will be utilized using paper. This is a directed drawing for the students to be able to draw basic shapes. When they're drawing the basic shapes, they notice that each basic shape is going to create an insect. Now, here, when we get to these steps, if you notice this icon here, that means that the students will actually press this icon on their device, because every time they are going to a new page, they are practicing and creating the lines and the circles, and then they're able to add more features onto their animal. Here's level 5, where they're adding on parts, and this lesson is about labeling the different parts and learning about the different parts of this particular animal. Now we talk about the landscape and how to use that. Once again, we have our tools pointed out for our students, our art palette, and we have the other tools that they'll be using. I drew this myself, took a screenshot so that the students are able to see this. The way that I teach this, the students are at their seats with their devices, and I am showing them using this slide presentation so that they can see step by step. And then once they're pretty good, then I kind of let them go, and then they can add their own different components to their work. Right. Once again, we share with them about the fill bucket. We make sure that these lines are all colored in dark, because if not, remember, if you use the fill bucket and you make a mistake and these lines are open, then that means the colors will spill out over here. We're going to add more elements to our landscape. And as you can see, this is our product that we have for our students. Our students are so proud of their work. Here are the parts of the insect the students are able to write by typing, or either sometimes what I've done with students, I have these words already on our worksheet and they cut them out and then they place them on their tablets. Here is some examples of some things that our students have drawn. We let the students use whatever inspiration that they have to draw, and that's why you see lots of different components of their drawings here. These lessons are for grades 4 and 5, and it's called We Love Digital Tools. How can knowledge be constructed into products? So now that we've learned all of the basics on how to do the drawing, now we're giving our students the opportunity to apply their work. Our goal is to apply digital tools and skills with creativity and innovation. And we're going to give children an opportunity to make gifts, make emoji art, and more. Today, we will work independently to create a project using a digital creativity tool. We're going to be sharing with you guys different types of tools that we have used in our classroom to give students an opportunity to learn how to demonstrate concepts. Let's begin with the components of these digital tools. Now, here is Brush Ninja, and here's an up-close view of the different tools that we have for grades 4 and 5. Here on this video, you get a chance to see, well, the students get a chance to see how this works. And if you notice, the themes of the brush sizes are here, the eraser tool. And what makes this one so neat is that this is also an animation tool, which is a part of graphic arts. Let's practice our drawing and animation skills. Well, this particular tool is one of my favorite ones, and this is called a toy theater. I made this video a few years ago, not too long ago, I think maybe two years ago, on how this works. And basically, you have different frames for this. This plus sign means that you're going to create a frame. You make a small drawing, and then you select this icon here and it makes a frame. This icon here is called the loop, and the loop basically means you're going to repeat over and over. I'm going to speed this up a little bit so that basically at the end, you can see how this works. The frames here, we have like 8 frames, and if you let it continue, it will move by itself. So that's just a short little demonstration on how to use this tool. This one right here is the animation using math. And this one is really, really neat because you get a chance, it reminds you of the spiral graph. So when you're talking about the various math vocabularies that we have here, you're able to share with the students like whatever numbers that you wanted to select. You can give them different number challenges. They go to the draw tool, and as you can see, the students are able to do a lot of creating here. So if you pause it, or if you want to erase it, or if you want to reset it, you're going to take this icon here and you're going to move it out, and you can move these, like I said, to different types of points. Now, if you want to move the position here, you can do that. If you want to move it farther out, you can do that as well. And there's the undo button. Now here are there is the color palette. So if you wanted to change the colors, you can do that as well. You select draw, and here you have another drawing using certain points. So sometimes what I do with the students, I will give them certain points to plot, and sometimes they will create their own points for the students, for other students to plot, and then we have a good time with this one. So I just wanted to share that one with you because I thought it's a really neat one to use. Here's Brush Ninja again, and I think I shared that with you already. The design challenge is to select a digital tool to create components of weather. Use your worksheet to organize your ideas and have fun. And we've done this in the past. I have had the students create wind. I've had them to create four seasons. I've had them to create the weather patterns, condensation, phases of the moon, all different types of ways that they can create using patterns. And if you come up with something of your own, this will be great. Our reflection questions: which weather pattern was fun to demonstrate? What tools were most helpful to be successful in this challenge? Did your ideas work to demonstrate this concept? And I'm very, very adamant about always having a reflection at the end of our class time. Even if the students haven't finished completed the projects, I feel like the process is so important for the students to reflect back on what they have done. Next, we have shapes and color challenges. Now we're into our robotics piece, and we use a lot with robots and art. Today, we will design and create a device to hold one or two markers on the robot using different materials. We will be getting ideas from members of our group, and this is a project for, this is a lesson for grades K through 1. Our goal is to develop a structure that will address a problem. In this case, we want our robot to draw. Our purpose is to apply these problem solving, computational, and strategic thinking using the engineering design process. Students are given the following materials: various robots, markers, attachment tape, covered table mats, device for groups of 2 and 3. Now, what do I mean by that? All of our tables are covered with paper, and I have different types of robots. Now, for certain classes and certain grade levels, I have certain types of robots to do these lessons. This is a generic lesson, but they can fit mostly to any different type of robot. I always put music with this one. Groups must design and engineer a structure that attaches one color marker to the robot. So because the students are young and they're still working on their fine motor skills, I put the music on for the students to practice putting their marker onto the robot, attaching it either using attachments or using some type of tape to get their robot to draw. Arbot Mystery Coding Challenge. Groups of 2 will take turns coding the Arbot. We will use one marker and paper, secure the paper with tape on the table, and we will be using 6 coding cards to program. Now, the way this works is one partner will put the cards on the desktop or the desk next to the robot and the markers and the colors, and the other partner will have to read the code that the first partner has laid down. So if they're putting down certain directions of the arrows moving left, right, or moving forward and back, then that means that the student must code that particular robot. And then the mystery is they don't know what the artwork will look like or what the shape or the line will look like. And that is so fun. And then the students take turns doing that. Partner 1 will create the code using the cards. And I sometimes with the littles, I will give them a head start. I will give them the first couple to do, and then they can add the rest. And then partner 2 will run the program using the ArtBot. The reason why I'm particular about this is because sometimes our students have a hard time sharing. So we make sure that all students are able to be the programmer and as well as the engineer. Now it's partner two's turn to do the same thing, but they will have a different coding challenge. And it's similar to what we saw earlier with partner one. Art by Drawing Challenge. Groups must design and engineer a structure that attaches two color markers to the robot. And then we call this our robotster piece. Another challenge we have using the dash robots, the Wonder robots, each robot will begin at their color station. Now I have the sketch color attachments for these robots, and these robots are coded to create specific shapes. Here, students are required to create a shape of a square and a shape of a rectangle. And they're required to code the triangle and an oval. And then I let the students code the shape of their choice. And then we have a little gallery walk and we're able to see each other's work. Our reflection questions list materials or tools that you wish you would have had to make the art by building process more successful. If you could change anything that your group did, what would it be? And what was the best part of the challenge? Now, here are some examples of us using our ArtBot. The K1 also, and I forgot to mention this, that we also use our Osmo. Next, we have the next lessons we have are called Color and Coding, Shapes and Color Challenges. This is used for grades 2 and 3. This robot we use is called Ozobot or Ozobot. What do you wonder about using a robot? Can you make the robot move fast or slow? Can you program the robot to move forward and back? Now, these are posing questions that I like to ask the students before we get a chance to use this robot. Our essential question is, how can students use simple commands to program the scary robot to reach its target? Now, this lesson was used during in October, right before Halloween, and this was a fun lesson for the students, and you'll see why. Our goal is to learn how to program their scary robot to move from its starting position to one of the targets, to use colors to move forward, left, and right to describe how the robot needs to move to demonstrate movement. And our purpose is to explore the Ozobot coding. Now, here is a short video, and if you've never used the Ozobots before, this is a great recording on YouTube. I have this link for you. It's already embedded into this particular lesson, so that if you would like to share this video with your students before you show them how to use this, they will absolutely love this. What is next? Well, we'll tape the ghost costume to the robot. Each participant will code the robot to various character targets using markers on the playground. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with it, the playground is basically a piece of paper with the different color markers. Now, the markers are red, black, blue, and green, and there are various combinations of colors create what's called codes. And the codes give the robot a chance to work different movement patterns. Here are the materials. We will work in groups of 2. We have our Ozobot robot, spiders, bats, ghosts, mask template, playground markers, and our mats. Here are the directions. Partners will secure the mask for your robot using tape, and you'll have 2 minutes to do that. So basically, the students are at the tables. There's paper, there are masks, and there's tape. And the students have to cut the mask off of the paper, and then they have to secure it with tape on the robot. Partner 2, create a plan by using the markers to code your robot, and on the plain playground, add targets, house, tree, candy, etc. Partner 1 will create a plan using markers to code your robot on the trick or treat playground, and the targets are provided. So this is where the students, um, this is their culminating activity where they've been practicing using their robots, practicing using the codes, and now their whole point is for their robot to trick or treat around the neighborhood using the playground that they created. Here is a gallery of some of the students' work. So here's a picture of the robot here, as well as the mask that the students created. Here is a picture of the trick or treat section where they had to go trick or treating, and at the combinations of codes, the robot moved differently. And here is where they got a chance to practice using live um, artifacts for their robot to move on their playground that they created themselves. Shapes and color challenges for grades 4 and 5. This lesson is called Shape Tracer. Now here is where we're using block coding and the Ozobot. Now our goal here, now this is a free website. It's called the ozoblockly.com, and they will give you your goal here, and they'll talk a little bit about what the goal should be. And basically, the robot is here, and you want your robot to go from this point to this point. Well, here you get a chance to use your math skills. This grid is in blocks of 5, going from this vertical line to this vertical line is 5, and add the 2 together is 10. So once they have that part done, you're going to go to your workspace here, but you're going to get some blocks first. Now, the students must use the colors because with this particular robot, this is the robot that uses colors just like we had before. So we're going to start with getting the block that's our light color block. Then we need to get the distance block. So we're going to get that one. And here we're going to move forward. Now, it's one step here, but as you know, we've already counted how many steps that the robot will need, and that will be 10. So we'll go to 10 steps. You can change the speed here if you want to, and then you'll go to the run. Now, here it says that it's wrong. So if it's wrong, then you go to reset. And what's wrong is I did not change the color here because this is green and not red. So you have to change the color here and then go to run. And it is correct. Now, the neat thing about this program is this section here, you will actually use your robot. You can, if your Chromebooks or your tablets are enabled, you can put your Chromebook flat on its back. If you're using a tablet, you can place it flat on its back, and you can load your Ozobot here. And when you place your Ozobot here, after you've loaded it, when you press run, the Ozobot will also run physically as well. So this is really, really good. And it has lots of challenges for you to use right here. The next one we use is called the VEX code for grades 5. And this one is another one using the block coding. So we're going to select this one. It says continue to free. And I've already embedded some code right here, and I'm going to walk you through this. Now, those of you that already know how to code, is similar to Scratch, and all I've done was use basic blocks. Now, these are in meters, but you can change them if you want to, change them to inches, but I just keep it here for the students because I like to use different types of measurement for the students. Now, this one uses a playground as well. So you will go to select playground. And for this one, I like to use the art canvas. Now, there's many playgrounds you can use, but I like to use the art canvas. So I use the art canvas playground, and I'll put in some code. The students can do this on their own, but I always show the students what I've done, and I'll let them either remix what I've done or I'll let them create their own codes. And after you have after you've coded the your piece, you're going to go here to select, and this is the robot, the Vex robot. Now, in middle school, I know this is for elementary, but in middle school, they also have these robots for students. Some of the elementaries may have them as well, but I know in our county, I think our middle schools actually have the physical robot for this one. So you press here, and then your robot will make the different design patterns of colors. So you'll have two things going. You'll have the directions for your robot, and then for this one, this is how you set up the pen colors for your robot to create the different colors for that one. Building class colors. Now, I use colors in our classroom for management purposes. Our students are in color teams. The cones are here, and the students sit behind their cone based on their colors. With the littles, I have the colors in the front, as you can see here, and I also have the colors on these cones. We do this a lot in the beginning of the year, especially with our younger students. It helps them a lot when they know exactly where to go to. So this is their seating area. And then when it's time to design or use our technology or use our engineering projects, then they go to the tables that are over here. As you can see, when we're working with our Legos, I use a tape. Our students are able to work on the table based on their tape. And it's because some of our students need a little guidance when it comes to spatial awareness, so that this is their work area separated. It's when we're using our larger materials, students know that this area is for one group and this area is for another group. We use our color codes to organize our tools for our classroom as well. We see our sorting station here. And then some of our stations, I have enough materials that are all in one color. For example, the chain reaction blocks that we use all have colors that match the team colors. And so we have that here. When it is time to use a reflection, or when it is time to demonstrate our learning, tables are randomly called. But the way that they're randomly called is I will put different numbers on the color circles that we have here. The students will see this screen, so that the purple team, no matter where they are in the lab, they'll know that they are first, and orange is second, and so on. So they know who's coming up next when it's time for them to present. With our reflection piece, the blue team knows that they're responsible for this question. Purple team knows they're responsible for this question. And this system works very, very well for me. Here are some web tools that I've listed here for you. I've also listed a few resources. If there are any questions, please feel free to contact me at this email, tpmusic7@gmail.com. Follow me on Twitter. I try my best to post a lot of different things that our classrooms are doing in the STEM classrooms that are doing. I do have a YouTube channel where I have lots of information with class lessons, things that I use with teachers as well as students. And the QR code here is where all this entire presentation is embedded right here in this QR code. So once again, I want to say thank you for joining us in this session. I really do appreciate everyone, and Carly and Adam. Much love to you guys for giving us a place to share our information. You all have a fantastic day. Thank you.